Well, what a win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do not apologize for victories. Take them. It doesn't matter that it's over one of the worst teams in the league. It's a division win, and we're ready to celebrate a victory Monday as the Bucs come back at home and defeat the Carolina Panthers 21-18. It is the Nothing But Bucs podcast. I am glad that you are tuned in. I am merely the somewhat capable host, T.J. Rives. We are ready to go over all the highlights, the interviews, and much more. As this was much needed in the race for the NFC South, there is no doubt about that on a December Sunday at Raymond James Stadium where the Bucs knew, backs against the wall, got to get this one, and then set into motion a potential win next week in Atlanta to be right in the thick of the division race with 4 games to go. Still got to play the Saints, still got to play Carolina again, and looking pretty good. All right, so again, thank you for finding us, however you've done so. Buccaneers mobile app. The podcast outlets, Buccaneers.com. We're here after each and every Buccaneer game with the full recap podcast, the highlights. You'll hear post-game interviews. You're going to hear from Baker Mayfield. You're going to hear from Mike Evans. You're going to hear from Antoine Winfield. How great has that guy been? Todd Bowles, and much more. Again, spread the love. Share us out through the Buccaneers mobile app, through social media, etc. Love getting to come and recap it, especially on a victory Monday. So we go back to Sunday at Raymond James Stadium for the first matchup again with the Panthers, who had fired their coach. Of course, we saw that a year ago where the interim coach Steve Wilks and the Panthers found a way to get the victory. But P.J. Walker, the reserve quarterback, after Baker Mayfield had gone down with an ankle injury, they went to P.J. Walker with the interim coach, and they beat the Buccaneers in Charlotte. And there are a lot of players on this team. I know Tom Brady's long gone, but a lot of players on this team did not have to be reminded about that loss a year ago. Now you're getting this game at home. And let's get into it a bit here with the highlights and what happened. And very early on in this game, the Buccaneers find some offense here in the first quarter. Finally, after having some struggles, having a punt after a couple of first downs, they finally find some offense. And this would be familiar on Sunday from Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans.
3rd down and 10. Bucs spread 4 or 5 receivers, dropping Mayfield. Good protection. Throws the ball downfield. You got Evans. Makes the catch. Sideline to the 10. He's out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Great fingertip grab by Evans.
Great catch right in front of me there for 40 yards officially for Evans to kind of get the offense rolling and get you into scoring range here on this quick drive after the punt. So that 40-yard completion leads you down inside the 10. Eventually, the Bucs have been very good in short yardage, and they in and around the goal line. They hammer it in right here.
Mayfield under center. Robert Hainsey, and you got Rachaad White behind him, 7 steps. He'll take the handoff, runs through tackle and guard. He's into the end zone. Is it a touchdown, Mr. Rep? It should be a touchdown. It is. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons. There you go.
Again, fire those cannons from Mean Gene Deckerhoff. It's a 1-yard touchdown run. Rachaad White's 5th touchdown rushing of the season. Give him a lot of credit. It's an 8-play, 57-yard drive as you hear these calls from Buccaneers Radio and our flagship station 98 Rock, and the Bucs jump out in front 7-0. Now, to Carolina's credit after this, they put a drive together themselves, able to run it some with Chuba Hubbard. Bryce Young, the number 1 pick out of Alabama, completes some passes, but eventually the Bucs play bend but don't break. Remember, the Panthers got inside the 5-yard line on this drive in the second quarter to begin the second quarter. But a big stop by Ryan Neal. We didn't mention that the Buccaneers were very depleted at linebacker. No Levante David, injured groin. No Devin White being arrested with the injured foot. They then play no Servassier Dennis due to illness. They then play KJ Britt as a reserve linebacker getting a chance to start. He gets hurt. So the Bucs are down to J.J. Russell in the middle, a second-year player out of my alma mater, Memphis, in this game. And then having to play Ryan Neal, a safety at linebacker, to try to make some tackles in place. Well, Neal, we don't have it in the highlights. Neal makes a big tackle on Chuba Hubbard down around the goal line for a loss, and it forces Carolina to kick a field goal. They don't get 7 after they had 2nd and goal at like the 1. They kick the field goal from 23 yards out, and it makes the game 7-3. Carolina then begins to take advantage of Buccaneer mistakes, including this here in the second quarter from Baker Mayfield.
Chris Godwin in motion, loses a towel, shifts the jet sweep motion, dropping to throw. Baker Mayfield throws the ball down. He's got wide open Mike Evans. He goes up for the ball. It's intercepted, picked off at the 40-yard line. It was a jump ball, a 50-50 thing. And Xavier Woods picks it off. It slipped off of Mike Evans' hands. It's slippery. And Panthers have the interception.
We mentioned the wet ball. He was trying to go deep to Evans, who was open, and the ball just came out of the hand. Cold, hard rain in that second period made things slick for the footing, for trying to throw the ball, trying to catch the ball. Again, you would think it would be advantage in the for the Buccaneers. We've had a lot of drought in the Tampa Bay area for the last couple of months. You haven't really been able to practice in the rain simulation. Perhaps they did some practice with a wet football or two here and there, but you can't simulate wet field conditions unless you turn the sprinklers on if you're in a drought over at the Advent Health Training Center at One Buck Place. So you weren't able to do that, but the interception there is costly. Fortunately, the Panthers not able to do anything with the ball after the interception as the Buccaneer defense continued to excel, held them. So the game is 7-3 in favor of the Bucs at halftime. Carolina gets the ball to start the second half, and this would be an odd third period with a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of punts, but a lot of good Buccaneer defense in here as well.
Shotgun look now with Sanders on his hip. Thielen in motion to the right edge. Snap a high one. We said the blitz under pressure. He goes down. He's sacked. Sacked for the first time of the game. And Antoine Winfield got him chest high and dropped him on 3rd down and 3.
That name, Antoine Winfield, keeps coming up, and he is able to make the stop there with the sack of Bryce Young early on in the quarter, and the Bucs able to keep some pressure going at this stage. Now, Carolina does put a drive together. It ended up being a 65-yard drive, a couple of completions again by Young. He was down a couple of his tight ends. He was using DJ Chark as a wide receiver, among a couple of others. And then finally they get into scoring range, and this time Chuba Hubbard too tough in and around the goal line.
2nd down goal. Hand the ball off. Hubbard's hit. Did he get in? They try the little tush push, and I don't think he got in. He did. Touchdown. Carolina Panthers. The official on the far side could not tell, and the official, the side judge on the near side, came running in and said he did cross the plane to the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Panthers, and they take the lead for the first time in today's game. 9-7, Carolina.
First touchdown of the game for Carolina, first lead of the game at 10-7. And really, this was we didn't mention this before the highlight, but this was a part of the game where the Buck offense really stagnated. 3 straight 3-and-outs out of the locker room, and you're really wondering, with only one touchdown in a must-win game, might there be a consideration that if Mayfield continues to struggle, because the team struggled to put points on the board in the second half at San Francisco. They got one touchdown, they got no more. Second half in Indianapolis, same thing. They got a touchdown to get them closer, get to 20 points, but couldn't score 2 other times in the red zone after getting down there. So now with the offense struggling, you're wondering, might they try Kyle Trask in a relief role to go spark the offense, go get a touchdown? Well, here's what happened. Here's why Baker Mayfield's a gamer. And with all the speculation about ignite the offense, here's how you ignite the offense, as Gene and Dave called it.
Shotgun look by Mayfield. From his own 25, takes the snap, looks downfield, throws a dart, caught ball at the 50, to the 45, to the 40. It's Mike Evans to the 30, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Did he get in? No, he is short by 2 yards. Mike Evans makes a remarkable run after the catch. And Baker Mayfield threw a strike to number 13, a gain of 74 yards.
After review, the runner was inside the pylon. It is a touchdown.
Tremendous hustle from Mike Evans, who ran some 50 yards after the catch, right at midfield, broke behind the defensive back. Safety doesn't come over. It's a foot race. And then Evans, you'll hear him in the conversation, said, yeah, I knew exactly where I was on the field, and I was looking to stretch that ball out. You'll hear him say it in his own words in a little bit. 75 yards is the longest touchdown catch of his career. It put him over the 100-yard mark yet again. It gives the Bucs the lead back, and dare we say the lead back for good on that play. And originally they called him down at the 2-yard line. They called him out of bounds, actually, not stretching the ball out to the 1 or the goal line. They called him, I guess, his foot out of bounds at the 2. Todd Bowles sees the replays on the video board, very wisely says, this is worth my challenge. Remember, last week Evans looked like he caught a touchdown right off the bat in Indianapolis, backing over a defender who's laying on the ground, not touching the ground himself, putting his hand down. Bucs didn't challenge there. They're on the 1-foot line. They don't get in. They get a penalty. They end up having to settle for a field goal. So here, challenge touchdown plays. Is it a touchdown or not? Todd Bowles does. It pays off. The Bucs, one play, 75. How about you had the ball 4 times, actually 5 total times, 4 times you're 3 and out on offense in the third period. The other time is that one play, 75 yards to Mike Evans. And I know Carolina had a touchdown with a decent drive, but they had 4 other punts. The third period had 10 possessions in the third period. 10 possessions in a single period. Got to be close to some kind of a record. So anyway, the Buccaneer defense feeling energized here at this stage, late in the third quarter, up 14-10. Here comes more pressure on the blitz.
The snap, a good one. Bryce Young to throw. Under pressure. He goes down. He is sacked again. Shaq Barrett was on one side and J.J. Russell on the other.
Again, let's hear it for J.J. Russell of the Memphis Tigers. My alma mater gets that sack as the Bucs began to compile some sacks as this game went on the linebacker blitz. He gets him down. Bryce Young forces another Carolina punt. And then early on, fourth quarter, the Bucs go to work again. 7-play, 67-yard drive. You get another completion to Mike Evans. You get the ball to Trey Palmer as well. And eventually on a 3rd and 2, the Buccaneers with a monstrous play here in the plus territory.
Now Rachaad White returns to the backfield. Under center, Baker Mayfield looks at that defensive front 5. Sends Godwin in motion. Hands the ball to Godwin, running to his right. Inside the 15 to the 10 to the 5. 3, 2, 1. Is it a touchdown? Is it a touchdown, Tampa Bay? Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the cannon. Godwin scores on the ground.
It's officially a 19-yard touchdown run. Again, Godwin right around the end on the sprint option for the wide receiver, the jet sweep around the end. He gets the running start. He gets around the end. Second career touchdown for Chris Godwin. Great blocking by Cade Otton. You're going to hear Chris Godwin on our Hooters postgame show talking about the blocking from Cade Otton. You'll hear from that here in a little bit. And again, Buccaneers now have the cushion. Up 21-10. You're up 10 points. You're in good shape at this stage of the game, but credit Carolina. They didn't quit. Bryce Young leads a drive. Once again, it's a 75-yard drive. They convert a 4th down with a deep pass to DJ Chark. It was right in front of me as Carlton Davis came over on the near sideline trying to break up the long pass. Couldn't get there quite in time. Chark hangs onto the ball. Again, if he can't hang on to it, if he's not in bounds with his feet, that's going to be Buccaneer ball at midfield with a 21-10 lead and about 5 minutes to go in the game. Instead, Carolina ends up punching it in shortly thereafter right here.
They'll feed the ball to Hubbard, tries to get outside, and he finds the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina Panthers. What an answer by Bryce Young and the Panthers now. It's 21-16.
Chuba Hubbard takes in his second touchdown of the game. He would have a 100-yard rushing day. Those are rare against Todd Bowles' run defense. And now the Panthers have closed to within 5. They elect to go for 2. The Buccaneers had Bryce Young stopped on the 2-point play on a sack by Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, but he grabs the face mask, does JTS. It gives them a reload. They get the 2 on Bryce Young running it in, and now it's a field goal game. Instead of 21-16 with the stop, it's 21-18. So back to our highlights here, and the Buccaneers trying to run some clock, and why not go back to big number 13, the Buccaneers' favorite target for a decade now.
Baker Mayfield, shotgun look. Godwin in motion to the right. Blitz threatened. Mayfield gets rid of the ball in a hurry. Caught ball at the 31-yard. Breaking a tackle. Mike Evans still breaking a tackle. Digs his way to the 36-yard line. That's an 11-yard pickup. He is over 1,000 yards for the 10th consecutive season. Only Jerry Rice has done it more.
Mayfield converts that one to Evans, and as you heard Gene say, that is now 10,000 yards for the 10th straight season to begin his career. No one's ever done that. And as Gene said at the end of the highlight, Jerry Rice is the only other player with 11 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons, but that did not come from the beginning of his career. It came from year 2 of his career on. But the end result here is Mike Evans. I mean, you talk about elite company. With the dozens and dozens and dozens of receivers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, only 2 of them, Mike Evans along with Jerry Rice, have 10 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. And Evans is the only one to do it at the beginning of his career. And you look forward to 2024 where he matches Jerry Rice with getting another 1,000 yards if he is able to. In what is now a much more passer-friendly league. We know this, but credit where it's due to what Evans has put up in this game. 7 catches, 162 yards, most of it on the catch and run, but he had other solid catches on third down, etc. All right, Carolina does get the punt. They get the ball back, and the Buccaneers trying to play a tough D one more time and finally will shut the door here in this in sequence with a defensive play.
The snap, a good one. Bell high, dropping to throw. Bryce Young flushed out of the pocket, flushed down, throws the ball upfield. It is intercepted, picked off at the 43-yard line by Antoine. Magnificent Antoine Winfield. What a minute. He was in the middle of the field and chased it down to the sideline. And Young throws a pick, and the Bucs have it.
The guy is everywhere. I again say on Nothing But Bucs, he is not Rondé Barber. He's not been doing it for as long as Rondé Barber. Rondé did it at the elite level for, 13 seasons with the Buccaneers. Antoine Winfield's got to go another few years to really be compared to Barber. What I am saying is he reminds you of Rondé at the size and the stature, physical play, rush the quarterback, stop a running back in the hole, run down and break up a pass, pick that ball off. Enormous stop there as the Buccaneers continue to make one pressure play after another. That would lead to this. You needed one first down basically to clinch the game, and you got it here up 21-18 late.
Hand the ball off, and Rachaad White, first down inside the 40, outside the numbers to the 30, to the 25, to the 19, and he falls down.
That's a
on
good
purpose.
He
keeps the clock running with 1:49 to go.
Heady play from Rachaad White. He very possibly could have scored on that play. And it looked like a couple of Carolina defenders weren't running that hard, like, hey, go ahead and score because it gives us a chance to get the ball here when we need the ball twice anyway. White wisely goes down after that run and give full credit to the Buccaneers for being able to kill the clock, to Rachaad White. They couldn't run a lot of the game in between the tackles, but he got outside on that run and stayed with it, made some plays on the day in the pass game as well. And the Buccaneers kneel on the ball a couple of times, and it's done. It's a Buccaneer victory, which is much needed after losing 6 of 7 games. You now go get the victory and put yourselves very much in the hunt coming up. More on that in a few minutes. Let's go inside the locker room right after this one was done. A 21-18 win put away against the lowly Panthers. Buccaneers are going to have no sympathy. Those years with Lovie Smith or those years with Raheem Morris or the name that we don't mention on these podcasts, the Panthers had no mercy on this team, especially when they had Cam Newton around. So the Buccaneers aren't going to have any mercy after scoring as much as they have scored in recent years on Carolina, especially with Tom Brady. I know it didn't happen in the game last year, but they followed up, and Mike Evans had a massive game against Carolina a year ago. He does again this go-around. All right, let's get to some of the interviews as they happened on Buccaneers Radio. I found Chris Godwin first to talk about the win, to talk about his touchdown run, the second of his career. We then also heard from Baker Mayfield. In this sequence, you're going to hear from both of those guys here on Buccaneers Radio in the aftermath of the game. Your play looms very large in the game on a 19-yard touchdown run around the end. Tell me about the play and getting in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just a receiver, I guess a receiver sweep. It wasn't something that we really shown too much of, especially like with me. So I think it was a good timing for it. And, I think what should be pointed out is Cade Otton did a great job on the perimeter blocking and pretty much just like sealed the way for me. So, shout out to him. I got him because of him.
So there was a lot of rain in the first half. I'm not making excuses, but it's a wet field. It's a wet ball. It kind of bogged things down. You were having some struggles in the third quarter. What finally clicked? The Evans big play, obviously, but then you began to put some things together.
That's a great question. I mean, I just think we plays. The weather definitely played a factor a bit in terms of like us just getting our momentum. But we just, we got our willing to play, and I think they did a great job of that.
Chris, thank you. Again, we will head over to Baker Mayfield and try to talk with him immediately after this is done, as the Bucs have won this one here 21-18 over the Carolina Panthers. And Baker here with us immediately after it's over with. Congratulations on the win. How did this team gut it out?
We weathered the storm, both literal and just, the ups and downs in the first half with the weather, and just found a way. Obviously a little bit sloppy in the first half of the offense, couldn't get anything going. But we made the plays we needed to. Obviously, Mike made a big one there on that one-play drive, and after that, guys up front took over. So that was the deal. We ran the ball when we needed to at the end.
Let's go back to the Evans play. I mean, he's had a remarkable career. That's one of the highlight plays, Baker, of his career to get in the end zone there.
Yeah, unbelievable. The single high coverage, safety rotated last minute towards the middle of the field, and he ran a great route off the nickel based on leverage and stuck his foot in the ground like he always does consistently. Just put it up for him, gave him a chance, and then he did the rest. So I can't say enough about the guy. First ballot Hall of Famer, 11 straight seasons with over 1,000 yards. That's truly unbelievable.
The Godwin play also looms very large. It's a third down play, and he not only gets the first down, he gets in the end zone.
Yeah, unbelievable play by him setting up the blocks. And then, I mean, you look back at that play, K. Otton's blocking for I don't know how long on that play. So just those two guys making it work. We've practiced that one quite a bit, and they executed.
With the understanding this is a game, how much did this team need this today?
I mean, we needed it. This is playoff mentality for us from here on out. We got to win each game division-wise and just try and put ourselves in position to make a run to the playoffs. And so this is the most important game, and we're going to enjoy it, but then we're on to the next, and that'll be the next most important.
Can't say enough on the job that Mayfield did. The stats weren't great, but, man, the offense needed to come alive. He threw the ball right on line to Mike Evans to go make a play. He threw the ball well on 3 or 4 other passes that the Bucs needed as the game went on. You did enough. You did enough there at quarterback. Godwin not nearly involved enough catching the ball. Chris, again, was bothered by a neck injury, and I know he's had a leg injury as well. He's not 100%. He's not even 90% probably, but still he's a gamer. Made a play with his feet on the touchdown run. Again, great block from K. Otton down the field. And the Bucs just kept making plays as this one went on and continued. Let's continue here in our post-game coverage. Hey, let's hear from offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs as well about what worked up front for the line, being able to get in the end zone, especially in the second half, and get a victory. You guys needed to have one. You got one today. That's the most important thing. How and why?
Because it was the next one. It's what we needed to do to get back on the train and to work our way back in the first place. So we needed it, so that's what we had to do.
Just said this to Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans has had an illustrious career. You've been around for some of it. That may be one of his greatest plays. Tell me what you saw out of that effort, especially to get in the end zone 70 yards down the field.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a bunch. Mike's a dog. I've been here for a short time, to get to watch his career, and it's been nothing short of spectacular. I mean, he's up there with the best to ever do it. So really honored to be able to play with him and call him a teammate. And just watch him, day in, day out, and, bust his butt and come out here and ball on Sundays.
The game was back on at 14-10. You guys drive in. It's a 3rd and 2 play that Godwin scores on, and K. Otton's getting the block down the field. The enormity of that play, please, and getting in the end zone.
Yeah, that was huge just in that situation. It was kind of a back-and-forth game. It was 7-3. And then they put points on the board, kind of went ahead, and for us to get in the end zone there, it was just huge. Kind of sparked something. I think when we scored again, it was massive. It's the effort you see from Cade, blocking downfield. That's incredible. Antoine
Winfield gets the interception. What, if anything, was being said as you guys came back out knowing you needed a first down to clinch the game?
That's all that was being said. Was first down wins it. Just knowing what we need to do to come out of here with a W. It was huge.
You have played a lot of road games. You come back home and get this one today. It's not everything, but how important was it to come back home and get one?
Yeah, definitely. Being able to come back here in front of the home crowd fans and get a W for them and for us as well was really big. I know it. The energy in the locker room, right after the game was incredible. It was really nice to feel that and see that, just that happiness again.
Back to the defensive guys and the success that they had throughout the game. J.J. Russell played the entire game at middle linebacker. Rarely got a break, if at all. Again, inactivity for Devin White, for Levante David, for Servassier Dennis. You were counting on Russell, preseason player, practice squad player, reserve. He got out there, made some tackles, made some plays. Had 7 tackles in the game at middle linebacker. Had that sack. Good for my Memphis brother there. And then you also we'll get a chance here to hear from Antoine Winfield everywhere, all over the field again. Let's hear both of those conversations from our Hooters postgame show with the Buccaneer defenders making some plays. 21-18 our final. J.J. Russell, Memphis Tiger brother from another mother. Congrats on the win over the Carolina Panthers. This defense had to gut it out. What was the difference, especially in the fourth quarter, to help secure the win?
We just stuck together throughout the whole game. Just played with a lot of energy and just kept believing, kept fighting, play by play, never getting down, never getting beaten. We believed that the offense was going to come through. And we just kept going, man, sticking together and playing hard.
KJ Britt goes down with a back injury, and Ryan Neal is standing next to you as a safety, playing linebacker for 40 or more plays in this game. What was that like in the huddle and trying to keep him on the same page with the linebackers, et cetera?
Ryan Neal's a vet. He played a little bit in a similar role back in Seattle. So, it was good. Me and him were able to communicate with each other, work together fine. And with KJ going down, you hate to see it. In this league, I've learned that it's next man up. Just always be ready for your opportunity because you never know when it's going to come.
Well, there's no doubt this defense needed to come up big. You came up big, and we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, the Bucs defense able to make some plays. Mike Evans able to make some plays. You just talked to the media on the podium. I thank you for stopping for me because I got to ask you about 75 yards and dive into the end zone. Good Lord. Tell me about that play, please.
That's the play all receivers want to get, catch the ball with some open field and just see how far we can go. My man. I was happy that, we reviewed it and it counted because it took a little out of me.
I was going to say, is that instinct, I ask receivers this all the time, or were you consciously thinking dive with the hand inside the pylon? How did it work? What do you remember?
I mean, it's something I've been practicing my whole life, since I was a kid, diving at the pylon and things like that. But you got to be smart in those situations. But I felt I had a good grip of the ball, and I ran so far I wanted to score a touchdown.
How much did this team need this, just real quick before you go?
Obviously, we needed it a lot. Give ourselves the opportunity to compete for the NFC South, and we did that.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping for me. He was on the way out after talking to the media. Antoine Winfield is also talking to the media. We will go over and stick a microphone in with him immediately after this is done. Hey, congratulations. We're live here on Buccaneers Radio as well. Congratulations on the win. That is the most important thing. Why were you able as a team to pull this out in the second half when the game was maybe in doubt?
Yeah, we just played together, and we knew the whole time our only goal was to win this game because we control our own destiny. And we just came out here and did it, and everybody executed, and we ended up winning the game.
We were just talking to Mike Evans. I know defensive guys don't always want to compliment offensive guys, but good gracious, what a play. 70-plus yards down the field and then the dive to get in the end zone. What did that do to inspire this team? Wake everything up, energize everything?
It made everybody want to match his energy. At least that's how I felt. Mike's out here balling. He's a legend Hall of Famer, so shout out to Mike. But, just having him out there making plays just inspires everybody else on the team.
All right, let's fast forward to the end where they're trying to make something happen late in the game and you're able to come up with an interception at the end of this game. Describe what you saw and being able to get the feet in.
I just was reading the quarterback, and I just peeked over and seen one of the receivers was open, and I just broke towards him and ended up making a play on the ball.
Why have you had so much success, whether it's rushing the quarterback, pass defended, pass picked off? What's a key ingredient or two as to why you're having the year you're having?
Well, I work hard every single day, and I practice like it's game situations because that's the only way to get better and actually put yourself in that situation as far as your mentality, like, all right, I got to attack every day like it's a game day. So that's probably what I credit it to.
Have you been going back and forth with Dad, and has Dad had any tips, or is Dad challenging you? Because Dad obviously played at a high level in the NFL too.
He did, and I wouldn't say he's challenging me, but I know I already have that mindset that I'm about to come out here and dominate.
And one more time, we've asked the other guys about this. This isn't everything, but how big was this to get back home and get on the winning track?
It was huge. It was huge. And like I said before, the message of this week was win, win, and we just got to make sure we continue to handle business and win our games because we control our own destiny.
21-18 is the final. Full credit to the Buccaneer defense. Yes, they played some bend but don't break. They did give up a touchdown, a couple of them in the second half, but when the game was on the line, they got sacks, they got turnovers. The defense did its job in the end. I know it's a bad Carolina team, but it's only one game, and you took advantage of them just like everybody else has been taking advantage of that team that drops to 1-11. Take the victory. Again, if the Buccaneers are in a tiebreaker situation for the NFC South to win the division, they don't have a qualifier that says, oh, well, you got to beat one-win Carolina for two of the wins, you're out. You don't qualify. You qualify on the victories, and if you're beating all the division opponents, which that has to be your goal after the loss to Atlanta. You want to be 4-1 or 5-1 in the division. You want to go beat Atlanta. You want to beat New Orleans for the second time. You want to beat Carolina for the second time. And again, if you win those games, the 8 wins, and particularly against those opponents, might be enough to win the NFC South. And you couldn't get that until you won Sunday with Carolina to win all these games against the division teams. All right, again, back inside the locker room late Sunday evening. Todd Bowles very happy with his team and the way to get the win. It wasn't easy against Carolina, but it is a victory. Let's hear from the head coach in our coverage. That's the most important thing, is you're able to get that victory here this afternoon. All right, why did this team come up so big, especially in the fourth quarter of this game?
Mike made a big play, obviously, start us out, getting us going. The defense, we wanted to win the game. We knew we had to make a play coming from somewhere. We knew we were down a couple people troop-wise. The guys stepped up. We're trying to get back in this division race, and it was important to us. And different guys made plays at different times.
We're going to have some fun talking about big plays. There may be none bigger than Mike Evans. One play, 75-yard drive. All of it is basically him after the catch from the 50 all the way down to the goal line. And then I don't think this is an exaggeration. Incredible effort to dive and get that ball inside the pylon. Can you say enough about that play to make sure that you got 6 points?
Outstanding effort by him. We thought he got in. He's long. Mike showed some great speed right there. The older you get, the faster he's getting. So, we rely on him quite a bit, and he comes through every single time.
By the way, they were just saying this a couple of moments ago. They're tallying up all the numbers. He has the most catches, the most yards, and I believe now the most touchdowns against any opponent in his career against Carolina. For whatever reason, he seems to light up whenever he sees this team. Again, you stretch the lead to double figures with another scoring drive where Chris Godwin capped it off on the 3rd and 2 handoff around the end. And again, not only the first down, but the touchdown. I know it's all the way on the other side of the field, but tell me what you saw out of that play and getting 6 more at that stage.
They blocked it great. Chris has been banged up all week, so he's been out of practice. So to see him come in there and he actually hit another gear was great to see for him to get in the end zone. So it was a great play by the blocking by everybody, and it was a great play by Chris.
Cade Otton is a guy blocking a defensive player about 5 or 7 yards down into the end zone to make sure that he got in. All right, so let's go to the end sequence of the game. Carolina got a touchdown. They got the ball back. But in the end, you're able to put pressure on Bryce Young and Antoine Winfield. We have called that name over and over and over again this year. Gets the interception. Say some more about that young man.
He's one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league right now. The plays he makes for us and the impact he has week in and week out, whether it's causing a fumble, making a great tackle, getting a turnover, or getting a sack, he shows up every single time. That's a credit to him and his work ethic and practice, his film study, and the way he prepares himself.
You obviously needed a win. You come home, you get that win. What does this do? It's one game, but what does this do for the psyche of your team to come home and put it together and get a victory?
Well, it's great because we know we got a big one next week. The psyche is great because we know we're in a division race right now. We control our own destiny, and we got to take it one game at a time.
From the injury standpoint, I know you came into the game banged up at linebacker, and you had to go to Ryan Neal playing linebacker as a safety. Tell me more about him. He easily played 40 or 50 plays at linebacker in this game, Coach.
Ryan did one of the best jobs I've seen by a defensive player this season on our team by only having a day of practice, really a walkthrough, and got about 6 or 7 reps at it and went in the ball game without a lot of practice at all and not hearing every one of the calls from that position and played a heck of a ball game. I can't say enough about the guy. He's a true pro. He's a team guy, and he's a tough one.
All right, Atlanta did win earlier today, so they maintain a 1-game lead, but now this sets you up for a game later this coming Sunday, 7 days from now, in Atlanta with the division here obviously still very much in play and a chance to pull even with it. That's all you can ask for right now on a Sunday night, right?
Well, that's all we want. We have a chance to control our own destiny and not rely on anybody else. We know we got to play the division again, coming up with Atlanta and New Orleans in the next couple weeks, and we got to get ready. We'll enjoy the night, and we'll get ready for Atlanta.
Coach, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, a victory that breaks up a 6-loss in 7-game streak. You get back home, you win again. Again, the Bucs have had some tough times on the road with some of these different matchups and games, and now have to go to Atlanta coming later this week. But Todd Bowles had to be happy with that. And again, full credit to Ryan Neal playing out of position at a big physical position at linebacker as a safety. He's 220, 225 pounds, playing a 250-pound, 260-pound, depending on how big these backers are, linebacker position. And again, not featured, we should say, in the highlights on Nothing But Bucs. Yaya Diaby with 6 tackles and a sack in this game. He's been coming on. So the Bucs got sacks, they got takeaways, they got the win. And congratulations to them for the job that they were able to do. So now you have a matchup with the Falcons. The Falcons won a game with the lowly Jets at the Meadowlands, a low-scoring game. So Atlanta gets to their 6th win by virtue of that. Remember, the Falcons beat the Saints a week ago. The Saints took another loss against the Lions. So here's what's at stake. If the Buccaneers win, they're no worse than a game back, and actually they pull into a tie with Atlanta. And in this case, New Orleans could still win next week and pull back up with a 6th win into a tie. But my understanding is because of the strength of victory and the division record, the Bucs would technically be in first place with a win over an Atlanta team and a win by New Orleans to create a 3-way tie. Buccaneers and Falcons will have split if the Bucs get the win next week in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and we hope that they're going to be able to do so. You got to regroup and get ready. Have the victory Monday that you're having today, but also be focused on the Falcons, on what Desmond Ridder can do. Again, he went to the bench since we saw him last. Taylor Heineke had been in, but Heineke suffered a hamstring injury, the reserve quarterback, so Desmond Ridder's been back in the last couple of weeks. And again, a victory for Atlanta, which was a bad offensive game in the Meadowlands against the Jets. So now they'll play host to the Buccaneers after having won game number 1 on a last-second field goal in Tampa, 16-13. We look forward to that one coming Sunday. We're on the air at noon on Buccaneers Radio. 1 o'clock is kick time. A win puts you at 6-7 and drops Atlanta to 6-7. Again, even if New Orleans wins, the best they are is 6-7 for a 3-way tie. So a win guarantees you a tie for the division for this week, and you're very, very, very relevant for the stretch run of playoff possibilities in the NFC South by winning the division. Not likely that you're going to get a wild card unless you get to like the 9th win or the 10th win, but the division could be very gettable with an 8th win. And I say again, Buccaneer fans, if you are a true fan, you want your team to win games and be in the playoffs at the end of the year. The Bucs have only been in the playoffs 4 years in a row once before. We said this before. We're going to keep saying this. 99, 2000, 2001, and the Super Bowl winning year of 2002. That's the only time 4 straight playoff years. If the Bucs can get there this year, they replicate it. Super Bowl win in 2000, division win, 13-win season in 2001, NFC South championship last year. You got in the playoffs with an 8th victory late in the year in Atlanta. Now, or late in the year, with Carolina, as we mentioned before. Now you got a chance to win in Atlanta this week and be in a tie for the division and actually have the tiebreaker at 6-7 if you can get this. Again, we're on the air at noon. 1 o'clock is kick time as the Falcons and Bucs tee it up in what should be a very interesting NFC South game. To get a win there on the road, pay the Falcons back, and be only a game below 500 headed to Green Bay. That's the goal. That's the goal for this week. One thing is for sure, whatever happens, we'll bring you highlights, we'll bring you interviews, and much more on Nothing But Bucs. My thanks to Jason Behringer, John Momola, everybody at iHeartMedia. For help with the highlights, Jeff Ryan is our director of broadcasting. I am merely T.J. Rives. The Bucs get a win over the Panthers Sunday, 21-18. We're on the air this coming Sunday from Atlanta. Noon is kick time, or noon is pregame. 1 o'clock kick time for the Buccaneers and the Falcons as NFC South rivals. We look forward to calling that game with Gene, Dave, and me. Pat and Ronnie on the pregame and postgame coverage, and then we'll come in here with whatever happens. Hopefully we're talking back-to-back Buccaneer wins and another victory Monday. We'll be here with it on the Buccaneers mobile app and wherever you get podcasts. It is Nothing But Bucs.